Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to today's video, which is going to be that palette tag video that everyone's doing at the moment. I think Samantha March started it, about 2 weeks ago or something like that, and ever since I saw it I'm like, ooh, I gotta do that video. It's another eyeshadow palette video, but I love eyeshadow and I have a lot. So it seems like the best, a really good tag for me to play around with and have fun with. Anyway, if that sounds interesting, please keep watching. So, like I said, Samantha March created this tag, and I'll link everything down below. And then who else have I seen do it? I think Angelica did it, Laura May Beauty did it. I think a few others have already done it as well, so I think I'm in good company giving this one a go. I do have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, so if you are new here, you might want to check out my eyeshadow palette collection video. I think I had 80 palettes in that video. Sorry, I just need tissue. So I think I had around 80 in that video, and now I probably have well over 100. I have purchased quite a lot in the last 2 months, mostly for reviewing for this channel, but also because I'm a hoarder. I don't know what to say. It's the only thing I've been purchasing really recently, which is makeup, mostly eyeshadow palettes. I really don't need any more. Am I going to buy more? Yes. Yes, I am. Anyway, so I thought with that might be some new ones that we can kind of talk about today in this tag. So there are 13 kind of questions or points to go through today. And yeah, so let's just get into it then. I have my computer here, so if I'm looking off to the side, that's why. So the first one is show your newest palette. So since I decided to film this video and to now when I'm actually filming it, this has changed because I have gotten like 5 or 6 palettes in. Since then. Anyway, but, oh, hello message. Okay. So the first one, my absolute newest one is, I got this on, I think Wednesday? I don't know, a couple days ago. And that is the new Sample Beauty, the Prodigy Palette Jewel Toned Edition. It's really pretty. I haven't gotten to play with it yet. This is what, whoop, where are we? Sorry, there's a huge mirror on it. So this is what it looks like. I think it's really, really pretty. Some really beautiful tones in it, mostly matte with just a few different shimmery shades. And there is some sort of other formula in here which looks really, really soft. And it's kind of duochromy, so I am excited about that. So my very newest palette is, yeah, Sample Beauty. I will do a review of this one eventually, I swear. I know I've been a bit crap about posting videos, so anyway. Newest one, Sample Beauty. Oldest palette is the next one. So this one's actually a bit tough because I did a huge declutter of all of my palettes last year before I ever even started this channel. So I got rid of quite a lot of my older ones. So some of the ones that were part of that collection were like all the Naked palettes. So I had the Naked Heat, the Naked Cherry, the original Naked, not the original, but like the little mini Naked ones, you know, where they had just like 6 colors, little travel size ones. So those ones were all the older ones that I had. I also had like the James Charles Morphe palette, which I got rid of. So I've actually done quite a bit of decluttering. So some of my older palettes are now gone. So I tried to think of the one that I had, which was the oldest of my still available palettes. And that would have to be, actually, the ABH Norvina, which was one of the first ABH palettes I ever bought. In case you don't know what she looks like, this is it. So it's very pretty, neutral, but with some pops of pink and purple in there. I bought this from Beauty Bay when it was on sale for like 30 or 40% off, so I got like a really good deal on this. And then after this I bought the Modern Renaissance after this one. So this was my first ABH palette that I picked up. I do enjoy it. It's not my favorite one, but it is pretty nice, and it is reasonably well used. Of those 2 oldest ABH ones, this one and the Modern Renaissance, I definitely use the Modern Renaissance a lot more. I don't really use it like now very much, but yeah, so one of my very oldest palettes of the Norvina, original Norvinas. Organized. I just got piles of palettes. I really should like go through and do an organization. Should I film that? Should I film organizing my makeup collection? It's gotten it's gotten completely out of control. There's just makeup everywhere in my room right now, and I've now actually had to move my office into the living room, not because of the makeup situation, because both me and my partner, we both have to work and have lots of meetings. So this area has gotten slightly more chaotic since then, so I definitely need to do a organization video. Yeah, so I was saying, if there's a whole bunch of mail that just came through the post slot on the door, and we haven't been getting like any mail at all for weeks. So it was a couple of things of, what did I get? We got coffee, and I got some got some super cute biscuits from somebody, but there was no name of who sent them to me. So I guess it's like a friend or a student or something, so I have no idea. I have no idea what's happened. If you sent me the cookies, thank you. So what I was saying is that if anyone does want me to film an organization video, I'd be very happy to do so. We can like chuck everything on the floor and organize it all together. And that could be really fun and productive for me. It's all about being moderately productive right now. Okay, on to the rest of the tags. So the number 3 is the most expensive palette. So if you guys have been watching it all, you already know the answer to this because it's one of my newest ones. And that is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. Still haven't used it but once. So embarrassing. Can't believe I haven't used it. Look at this beautiful creation here. It is a little bit, like looking at it, a little bit neutral, especially like this little zone here and like this little cluster here, but the greens are just so stunning. This blue, these blues, all of these greeny golds and stuff here. I think it's definitely like a very versatile palette, so you can do some really deep smoky looks and then also some really basic neutral ones, like this mustard color down here is so pretty. I should do a swatch, like for Instagram. I should swatch this on Instagram just to get my chubby little fingers in it. Okay, most affordable palette. This is a bit tricky because I tended, at least before kind of starting this YouTube channel, to buy the really affordable ones with like a couple of the more expensive ones like interspersed. So I bought a lot from ColourPop and they tend to be really affordable. So like for example, like their 9-pan palette. So this is just one of them. This is the Baby Got Peach. The cats did knock this on the floor the other day, so it still looks okay. Still looks like a palette. I don't know if the colors are in the right spot anymore because it did explode everywhere. Thank you, cats. But these are, what, like $12 US, so like 10 pounds a piece, so they are definitely more affordable. Obviously, getting them over to the UK, there are shipping and tax costs and stuff like that, but on like the face of it, like the actual price of them, they are very affordable and good quality. I also wanted to include some other ones that may be more available here in UK and then in Europe. So like the Kiko Milano, like this Tuscan Sunshine one, this was actually decent. Like it wasn't a bad palette at all. It's not like the best by far, but it is pretty nice. And this one's less than 15 pounds. So, I mean, it's a cute, compact, not too expensive little palette. I picked this one up from, where was it, Superdrug last week. I was released from the house for a brief period of time and went shopping because of course I did. And this is the Flower Beauty Sugar Rush. So this was $15.99 in pounds, and it comes with a little brush, which they make sure to tell you that it is worth money. I don't know how that brush is going to be. And this is pretty cheap, and you get, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 shades. I haven't tried the quality of it, but these are probably my least expensive palettes generally. The next one says, show your everyday palette. Now, I don't really have one because I like to switch it up as much as possible, and what's everyday might be different from favorite, because favorite doesn't mean it's the one you use the most, it's just the one you love. So thinking about like everyday, one that's very well used, one that's very kind of versatile, can use it on different kinds of days, you know, more like date night kind of stuff, but also like just going to the office. And that would have to be the Nabla Dreamy 2 for me. And this is the Mystic palette. So the reason for it is that you have some like really pretty neutrals in here, so like kind of these reds and kind of more matte, you know, kind of boring colors, but that you can do a really nice neutral look. But then you have these beautiful purpley shimmers, this kind of iridescent shimmer here, these other shimmers like this one, that can give you some really cool looks as well. So this one I used very, very heavily. I think it was this Christmas. I brought it with me to Japan. So you can see it's really like, you know, there's kind of some dips in there. But this is a good, like, I don't know what to wear on my eyes kind of day. This is like one that I would definitely reach for just because I know that I'm going to get a really nice, really easy look with it. So I would say everyday palette, Nabla Dreamy 2. Okay, next one is show your most colorful palette. I love colors, so I have lots and lots of colorful palettes, so this was actually kind of more of just choosing one to show you guys, and I decided to show you one of my newest ones, which was the Nomad Tokyo palette. So it is a colorful pastel explosion of color, which I still haven't gotten into yet. I will use it. I'm really, really excited about this one. It's just so cute. Look at the pan impressions. They're absolutely adorable. So this one is probably one of the more colorful ones. It's a pastel rainbow palette. I'm still waiting for my Glamlight palette to get here. The box that my mom shipped from the States has gone missing somewhere in Los Angeles for 3.5 weeks now. So hopefully it will turn up and I will get my beautiful new rainbow palette from there. But I think this is one of my more colorful ones, but there are lots, and in two ones, when I show you the largest palette, it's also very, very colorful. Next is show your smallest palette. So I have some very teeny palettes, but what I decided to do, how I interpreted this question, was to show you the smallest in form of number of pans, like number of colors in it. So like the ColourPop ones are pretty small, like my Fenty Snap Shadows are pretty small, that Kiko Milano one was pretty small, but they all had like 6, 9 colors in them. So the one I have, where'd you go? Which is the smallest in terms of number of shadows, is going to be the new Rouen 1111 palette. So I bought this one. It's very pretty, very shiny. You probably can see yourselves in it. Hello, you. And then here she is. So it's just a 4-pan palette. Sorry, it's very, very reflective. Let me pull it really close so there's not too much reflection going on there. And you can see it's really pretty. It's definitely a neutral 4-pan palette, but looking at it very close up, the textures of the shadows are very flaky. So I'm quite interested to see what these are going to be like on the eyes. I think they're going to be really, really pretty, very soft, but very shimmery and metallic. So I am quite interested to try this one. I like the very minimalist kind of packaging. It is going to get completely like covered in fingerprints though, so this one is one of my smallest palettes. Biggest palette. So I have 2 that would go into this category, so I'm just going to show you the one. And this is based on like kind of total size, so it's not necessarily like with the most pans in it, but I think it's pretty close to having the most as well. And that's going to be the Morphe 35i, the icy one, Ice Fantasy. So let me just open it up. Oh, I just put my finger in something. So here we go. This is what, hello. This is what she looks like. It's really pretty color story wise. The quality it's Morphe quality. So if you're used to having one, if you like Morphe, that you might really like this one. I think it's very pretty. I need to get in and use it a little bit more. Some of the colors are not as pigmented as I would like them to be, but I know that's pretty typical for Morphe, so I'm not going to be like too hard on it. I don't need to be down on Morphe all the time. They're not my favorite formula, but it is a really pretty palette, at least color story wise, and it is probably one of my biggest. The only other one that's this size is the Jaclyn Hill 2, so those are my biggest ones. I don't tend to go for really big palettes on my jam. Okay, so the next one says show your palette with the best memory. I don't really have, like, I don't associate my eyeshadow palettes with specific memories, so I had to think about this a little bit more. And what I decided to do was do one that was kind of related to this channel and like a nice memory on here. So I decided to go with the Fenty Beauty Snap Shadow, the number 7, which was one of the very first palettes that I reviewed on this channel. So here she is. Still super cute. I love this one. I need to go back into it occasionally. I really kind of, since I've gotten so much new stuff, just kind of put it off to the side. But this is one of the first palettes I actually bought for use on this channel. So the other stuff that I reviewed, I already kind of had or had intended to buy anyway. And these ones are the first ones I bought kind of specifically thinking about reviews. And so it has a nice memory of being one of the first things that I showed on this channel, getting myself started, getting myself used to being on camera and filming. So from that perspective, this one will be my nice memory one. Okay. So we have 4 more to go. 4 more. So the next one says, show a palette worth the hype. So generally, I don't think palettes that are like hugely hyped are going to be that worth it. You know, it depends on what you like, what your taste is. And so, you know, most of the time the hype is really only there to encourage you to buy crap that you don't need. So most of the time, just so you know, it's not going to be worth the hype. It might be for some people, they really enjoy it, but However, that said, I'm going to talk about two different things in this little section here. One, which is a company and a brand that actually I think is worth the hype, and their palette specifically, and then one which was maybe overhyped, but still pretty good. So the brand is one that I saw being talked about all the time on YouTube. Every YouTuber was talking about these. These palettes made almost everyone's best of list for last year. And I was like, they can't be that good. They can't be that amazing. Really, I mean, come on, they're just an eyeshadow palette. But they are. They really are worth the hype. And actually, I have a third one. And those are going to be, no surprise, guys, the Kaleidos Futurism collection. So I have three of them. I have the Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green. I have the Futurism 3 Astro Pink. This is the newest one to my collection. I'll show you guys the insides in a moment. And I have Futurism 5 Electro Turquoise. These are fantastic. The quality is impeccable. They're just really lovely color story-wise as well. Here's the Sci-Fi Green. You can tell it's very, very well used. Then the Electro Pink, which I haven't even used yet, but no, I've gone into it. No, I did for that other video. Yeah, so this has been used now. So here's the Electro Pink, so pretty. And then is that Electro Pink? Astro Pink, sorry, and then Electro Turquoise, which I really love this color story too. This one, the packaging, oh my god, I love the way this packaging feels. It's so smooth. So definitely, I think it's a brand worth the hype, and kind of into the future when I kind of decide what I'm going to buy, what things interest me, I'm going to go, if they've released something new, I'm just going to buy it because they have such a high quality product that I kind of have a trust with them that whatever they have is going to be worth it. Now, there's another one where I kind of have I'm not going to say like a love-hate, because overall I really enjoy it. It's just not my absolute favorite, but the hype was more about the packaging, the look, the aesthetic, everything about it, and it definitely lived up to it. It's one of the most beautiful looking palettes that I own, and that's going to be the Melt Muerte palette. This is like absolutely my aesthetic. Skulls, the grungy greens and reds, and these deep colors. I mean, it's just such a beautiful palette. And it's stunning. Like, it's executed to perfection, the way that it looks and the way it was curated. So from that perspective, this was absolutely worth the hype. A couple of the colors in here I do struggle with a little bit, so I can't say that the quality is like perfect. But after trying the new Melt Rust palette, I'm more on board with the type of eyeshadow. Like, I'm learning more about how to use it, and it is really, really good. So worth the hype from an aesthetic perspective. Okay, show a palette not worth the hype. Well, there was a list of these guys. I could have done so many. I was thinking about the Jaclyn Hill Morphe 2, but then like, it's a Morphe palette, so if you know what you're expecting, it'll be worth it because you know what the quality's gonna be like, and objectively, it's a fine palette. Oh, like another disappointment, but I won't beat this dead horse, is like the Viseart Paris edit. It's fine. It's usable. There's no real huge issues with it. It's fine. So I kind of narrowed it down to the one that I was probably the most disappointed with, and that's going to be the Urban Decay Wired palette. It just wasn't a good palette. I mean, you can make it work, but why should you have to struggle? You know, there are so many other brands out there doing beautiful rainbow colored palettes that you don't have to sit there and struggle to make work. These are not very pigmented. They don't go on the eyes really easily. It's not a good quality palette. It's cool, like I like the look of it here. And the colors that they chose are decent, but they are just really disappointing. So I think this is like, of this year so far, this is one of my least favorite things I've picked up. Eyeshadow palette wise, there's some other garbage that I've also picked up, but whatever. Okay, last two. Favorite palette from a favorite brand. So probably no surprise, one of my very favorite brands is ColourPop. I have a couple of different favorite ones, but I figured these are maybe my very top favorites. I have everything that like 85% of what ColourPop put out last year, so I have a lot of ColourPop products to choose from. I do have a video ranking some of my 9-pan palettes here. And so if you have seen that, you already know what my number one ColourPop palette is, and that is the Just My Luck palette that came out last year around St. Patrick's Day. And it is also one of my most used palettes. I absolutely love it. It is so cool. The color story is amazing. I have other green palettes that I really love, like the Kaleidos Futurism Green, but, or Sci-Fi Green, sorry, Futurism 1, Sci-Fi Green. But this one, it's just really cool, and it's the first palette that got me into green eyeshadow, which has kind of ended up being one of my go-to colors eyeshadow-wise. Betty, don't you dare. He is in love with my computer. So he wants to like nudge it all the time and like touch it, but he's not allowed to. Thank you. See the light changing? That's Betty. Anyway, so I have a lot of favorites, and like if we think about other favorite brands like Nabla, I've already showed you the one that I probably like the most. I have, you know, this Futurism, the Kaleidos ones, you know, but this was, I think, of all the brands, ColourPop is probably my number one brand still, and this was absolutely my favorite one. Okay, so the final question is just to show your most used palette. So again, this is probably going to come as no surprise for anyone who's been watching me for a little while. It is probably the most boring and basic palette that I own, and that is the ColourPop Double Entendre palette. I do really love this palette. It may be like the most boring ass neutral palette in existence, but I have to say, like, quality wise and like the ease of use, it's just really, really good. I mean, I don't know if you can see, but like all of these are kind of like quite deep dips in them, because this lower row is my go-to row. So I use this when I'm traveling, because almost regardless of the eyeshadow primer I use or how I apply it, it lasts forever. It's like really, really high, like good quality eyeshadows. They blend beautifully together, and you can get just the most easy, very basic look out of this palette. So for me, again, it is the most boring one I think I have, but it's this ColourPop one that is, it's my go-to for every day, not every day, but it's definitely the one that I've been using the most. I take it traveling with me anytime I go traveling, which might be a while until I get to go again, but I will probably take it with me when I do. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below some of your favorite palettes, or your one that you thought was like worth the hype, or the one that you was like, oh my god, what is this? This is terrible. I'd love to hear what you think about these. So anyway, leave a comment down below. Yeah, so that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you in my next one. Bye bye.